Come on, babe. You don't really mean it? You can't just leave me. Give me another chance. You know I love you. But Rachel, my ex, didn't care one bit. She yelled at me to get lost and left me in the dust. Man, getting rejected like that hurt. A lot. But between you and me, I didn't mind. I actually kinda liked it when she said no. Yeah, it broke my heart, but it was also kind of fun. Hi, my name is Brad. And let's just say, I'm sure I'm not like any other guy you know. After my rejection, I ran home with my aching heart in my chest. As soon as I got home, was barely through the door when two of my sisters, Clara and Trish, ran up to me. They were both asking me for help, frantically, and I could barely hear what each one of them was saying. Things had been really hard since my mom had gone, but I had a lot of things to deal with, and my sisters just couldn't seem to understand. Clara was crying and saying that she needed new shoes because her old ones were worn out. She said, "The kids at school all make fun of me. Can you take me to get new ones?" I told her I was too busy to do it right then. But before I could leave, Trish was crying too. She said her friend was having a party and that she needed to get a present. She said, "This is the first time I've been invited to anything." But I said, "Sorry. I'm way too busy with stuff." I went to my room and I got on my computer to message Rachel. I wasn't ready to give up on her yet. I typed, "If you take me back, I'll give you my dad's car." But while I waited for a reply, I messaged a few other girls from school. It doesn't hurt to have some backups, right? While I was typing away, my third sister, Lindsay, burst into my room. She said she was hungry and wanted a sandwich. But I said back, "Make it yourself. I'm busy here." She saw that I was chatting to girls online and not studying, but I didn't care. She left without a word, and I went back to my business. Eventually, Rachel messaged me back and finally agreed to meet up with me the next day so we could talk. Jackpot. Just then, my dad suddenly appeared in my room. I quickly made it look like I was doing homework on my computer. He started yelling at me. He called me lazy and selfish, saying I never did anything to help since my mom had passed away. I shouted at him, "Leave me alone! I've had enough of you all today!" I got up and ran out of the house. The next day, I arrived at the restaurant Rachel had agreed to meet me at. I sat down and things went well for a while. It seemed like she might take me back. But I remembered how weirdly fun it had felt to get turned down by her. So I started to do things that no girl would like. I checked out the waitress as she left the table and asked Rachel to repeat things all the time, as if I wasn't paying attention. I made sure to order the most expensive meal on the menu, and she said she would do the same. That seemed to calm her down, until the check arrived, that is, and I told her that she'd have to pay because I didn't bring my wallet. That was the last straw. She stood up and threw her glass of water all over me. The whole restaurant was staring as she stormed off, and it was so embarrassing. But even though I was rejected again, it felt more thrilling than it did yesterday. I couldn't enjoy it for long, though, because my dad called me right after that moment. He yelled, "Where the heck are you?" I shouted back, "I'm not a little kid anymore. You can't tell me where to be all the time." Dad told me that there was an emergency at home, and I needed to get back right away. I cut the call because Dad always exaggerated everything. I felt bad for a moment, but then I remembered that I'd just been dumped. Again! I was feeling bad and good at the same time. And when you feel like that, you gotta be out in the rain. I headed home soon after, and the house was in a panic. Lightning had struck a big tree outside our house, and it had fallen down and destroyed our kitchen. I ran up to my dad, who was talking to some firefighters, while my sisters cried. Dad screamed at me, "Where the heck were you? I said it was an emergency!" I yelled back, "I didn't think you were serious!" My dad was complaining about how expensive it would be to get everything fixed. He told me that I need to get a job to help pay for it, and I said, "No way!" I told him, "I don't have time to get a job. I was way too busy." Yeah, I felt bad, but it was my dad's house, and he has to figure it out. I had a lot going on, and I was heartbroken. My dad thought I was talking about being busy with schoolwork, so he said that he'd just have to get a second job. He said, "Listen, idiot, I pay a lot of money for your education, so you don't end up like me. You better make the most of it and work really hard." I told him to stop pressuring me and stop worrying before I left the room. Luckily, my bedroom hadn't been hit by the tree, so I can get right back to business. I spent the next few days trying to chat with more and more girls while my dad got a second job. I felt guilty, but I wouldn't be young forever. I needed to have fun while I still could. Later, my dad came home all happy, saying that he met a lady at work that he really liked. He said, "This woman is going to help me forget all my sorrows in life, including you, my son." The next day at school, I was shocked to see Trevor, a guy from school, holding Rachel's hand. I couldn't believe it. She was already with another guy? I ran over to them and yelled, "Rachel is my girl. Get away from her." She just moved closer to Trevor. She said, "Leave me alone, you psycho. It's over between us." I offered my hand, but this time, Trevor pushed me away. He said, "She told you to leave her alone, so get lost." That was the last straw for me. I swung my fist and punched him right in the face. Soon, we were both swinging at each other until 2 teachers came to separate us. We were sent straight to the principal's office, and he told me I was suspended. I left school feeling like I lost everything. First, Rachel was gone, and now my dad would probably go insane if he found out I'd been suspended. Trevor's dad was friends with the superintendent, so on top of everything, he got away with no punishment at all. I got home wondering how I was going to break the news to Dad. When I saw his new girlfriend had come over for dinner, I just wanted to drown my sorrows in text messages. But then I saw that there was a gorgeous girl around my age with my dad's girlfriend. This is Laura, my niece. I was immediately hooked. I started talking to her a lot. She was so gorgeous and smart, just my type. I knew I had to be with her. Before I could get to know her a bit more, my dad pulled me into another room and said, "I really like Laura's aunt, so you need to back off or you'll ruin my chances with her." I couldn't believe it. This sad old man had no right to control who I spoke to, so I just ignored him. I managed to get Laura's number without my dad noticing and started texting her all the time. She was so cool and agreed to go out with me. The next day, I was getting ready for my date with Laura when my dad phoned and said I had to take my sister Trisha to an important interview for an international college. Right at the time I was supposed to meet Laura. At first, I said heck no. But my dad said, "I had enough of your stupid games and excuses. I'm not asking again. Take your sister or else. This is important for her future." I figured I had enough time to meet Laura and still get Trisha to her interview, so I took her with me to the mall. I told her, "Just keep your mouth shut. I have to see someone real quick." I met Laura and she looked even prettier than she had before. I couldn't believe I was on a date with her. She looked at Trisha, and I had to come up with something fast. I said, "That's my sister. She has a condition where she looks 16, but has the mind of a 6-year-old. Trisha looked like she was going to kill me, but I gave her the sharpest look I could. I said, "We're just gonna hang out here for a bit, Trisha. Be good or I won't take you for ice cream later." She sat with her arms crossed, obviously mad at me, but I was too busy with Laura to care. In fact, Laura seemed to really like that I was taking care of my sister. We were having a great time, and I was really falling for her, but something was missing. The fun that I had with Rachel wasn't there, no matter how well the date went. At the end of the date, Laura gave me a hug and said she'd like to see me again, and it left me with mixed feelings, to say the least. Right after my hug, Trisha ran up to me, furious. She just looked at her phone to check the time and was really panicking. She yelled, "We're an hour late for my interview, and it's because you're so busy with girls. I'm gonna miss my chance and it's all your fault." I told her to keep her voice down, and we left, but it was too late. The next day, my dad got home in the afternoon, and he stormed into my room, angrier than ever. Trisha had told him about her missed interview, and he also found out about my suspension. He was screaming loud enough for the whole world to hear. "You're so selfish! Why can't you be responsible and stay out of trouble? You stupid boy!" I shouted back at him I was young and needed to live my life. I ran out of the house as quickly as I could and went to sit in the park. I felt bad about everything. As luck would have it, Laura was at the park too, and she said she wanted to go out with me. We hung out and we were having a good time again. But without even thinking, I tried to sabotage things with her. I pulled the same tricks I pulled with Rachel. After all, they would make any girl furious, right? I checked out other girls, acted disrespectfully, and made Laura pay for stuff. But no matter what I did, she just seemed to like me more. I couldn't understand it. By the end of the date, she should have been slapping me, but she gave me a kiss on the cheek and left. The next day when I got back from school, Clara casually said to me, "By the way, bro, Trish packed her bags and left this morning." I felt annoyed and asked her where Trish had gone, but she just shrugged her shoulders. I went up to Trish's room and saw that all her stuff was gone. My dad was already furious with me. If he found out about this, he'd kill me. Panicking, I called Laura and told her what happened. She said she knew where Trish's boyfriend lived, and she would probably be there. So we both headed off to his place. When we got there, we found them standing outside and having a fight. Her boyfriend looked so relieved to see us. He said, "Thank goodness. Your sister is crazy." She mentioned the C word, commitment. Getting married and being together forever. Trisha was saying, "I thought you loved me. I just wanted to be with you." I stood between them and said, "Hey, watch it. That's no way to treat a woman. Leave her alone." I turned to Trisha and said, "I'm really sorry you missed your interview. I've had a lot of issues lately, but I still love you. Come home with me. I'll do anything." She said, "Anything? Okay, I want your bedroom." Laura was watching, and I couldn't say no. So I just said, "It's a deal. Just come home now." She agreed and we started to head back. I wasn't actually going to give her my room, but it made me look good to say it. Laura was definitely very impressed with me as we left. I even got a quick kiss. We drove back home and made it before my dad found out. At the front door was Rachel, looking furious. She said, "Is this another one of your targets?" Laura asked what the heck she was talking about. Rachel said, "Brad is a crazy psycho. He treated me like garbage, refused to leave me alone, and then tried to beat up a guy I was with. You should stay far away from him, or he'll treat you like that too." I thought that Laura would leave immediately after hearing that. But instead, she walked up to Rachel and said, "Maybe you're just too stupid and shallow to understand Brad. He's complicated, and I love him just the way he is." Before Rachel could even reply, we heard a huge crashing sound from the living room. We ran in to see my dad's girlfriend storming out. She was yelling, "I can't believe you said I eat like a cow! You jerk! I don't even want to see your face right now!" She shut herself in the bedroom. My dad knocked on the door. He was saying, "Open up! Open the door! I'm sorry!" He saw us standing there and smiled. I don't know why, but I kinda like it when she yells at me like that. Rachel took a step back and said, "What the heck is wrong with this family?" Then she ran out the door. We all couldn't help but laugh. I've been seeing Laura for a few weeks now, and we're really happy. Since I've been with her, I haven't wanted to spend all my time looking for girls. And my dad is happy that I'm helping around the house more too. Things finally feel less crazy now that I found Laura. It feels great to be with someone that finally understands me.